This is the Loiners View podcast.
This is the Loiners View podcast.
This is the Loiners View podcast.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to. Well, I don't even know what to say about that, gentlemen. Well, I'm flabbergasted. Jordan, Johnny, what on earth was that? Come on, boys. What on earth? What on earth did you do?
When did we score that try that got us back in the game? I mean, we were down to 12. We were down to 12 men. Yeah, 68 minutes. We're down to 12 men, and I can't believe it. I mean, it reminded me of, if any game that comes into memory, when we were 20-0 down against St Helens about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've come back out of nowhere and won the game. It was like that.
I mean, Jord, what on earth? Right. For you, who made the difference? I mean, you look at the scoreline and it was like we were literally, I mean, I'm lost for words. I have actually lost words about this. Who caused that to change for you?
For me, I felt like we got a bit of a roll on and started going forward a bit more quickly when Lehman came on.
I agree totally with that, yeah. When Lehman came on, it was a different game. I like Dwyer, and I think the new rules with the back to the set restart will suit him. But I think we need somebody to control us first off. He can come on late in the game, get on the front foot. But Lehman today was the man for me.
I think you said it was a kick up the arse as well.
Yeah, there's Simbin, yeah.
Well, did you think that Simbin was harsh, just for the record? Because I thought that was dubious. I actually agreed with Phil Clark. I have never in my life agreed with Phil Clark. And I was like, that's not, he's got his foot on line. And even he was like, that's not, I felt this, I had to have another sip of a can. That's how bad I felt, to wash away.
I thought there were a few decisions that Hicks made in the game that were a bit against us. And I never complain about refs. Before anyone starts, I'm pro referees and I never complain about them. But I thought Hicks was very Huddersfield biased today. Let's put it that way.
Just for the record, I probably agree. But, just slightly. I mean, there were a few very dodgy calls. Well, not dodgy calls. Yeah, I mean, there were a few.
I mean, there were a few calls. I mean, you can look at the Hurl try that was maybe not a try, but I think on the whole balance of things, we deserved it, so I'm not going to complain.
Jord.
Cuthbertson last 20 minutes as well were
different. Yeah, Cuthbertson got into it. Some of those offloads that kept the second phase going were very good.
He did. For me, even though he's sort of cracking on, if he would sign another contract for another couple of seasons, I would potentially tie him down for one, because he does do that. There was a Salford game before the lockdown, but he changed that when he came on as well.
He's got that experience that you need, isn't he? He knows what to do at the right time.
He really did influence the game as well in that last 20 minutes. Cuthbert was just driving it through the middle, and nobody was doing that beforehand. There was nobody giving that. Pryor were trying, but Pryor's not that sort of place to do it. But Cuthbert suddenly just woke up almost. It was like somebody had just flicked a switch, and that were it.
I agree totally, yeah.
I genuinely think, oh, by the way, Johnny, what are you eating again? Just for everybody listening to us.
Andy's other half has brought some nice homemade Chinese food in, so we're enjoying that at the moment.
We need lockdown in Bradford, so we're just having it, yeah.
Yeah, well, nice to see you, Andy. Welcome along to our show.
We're on the lead side of the border, so we're not locked down yet.
So, right, another point that was quite intriguing that I think we have to be a bit cautious of. When Milo went off, we seemed to crumble in that bit when he literally, obviously he had to go for the head test, but we just seemed, I know he actually played such a pivotal role, but we went really to pot, didn't we, when he went off?
I think we lost structure. I mean, Newman, as good as he's in the centre, is not a winger, and I think it's proven. The first game we played against Hull, they scored a couple of tries down our wing where he was a bit out of position, and he's a good centre. He's not a winger, and tonight showed that was the case as well. They targeted him and scored probably 12 points down his wing.
Yeah. Jord, what were your opinions of him?
he's been through the wars as Myler, hasn't he, today?
Yeah.
Took a few knocks, but it's not just the defensive stuff as well. When you lose a lad who's playing fullback, because more and more they're increasingly important in the attacking setup as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's
So
the whole structure. It messes the whole structure up.
It does.
I mean, Hanley's not really a fullback, is he? Though that's the issue.
Well, this is it. You know, obviously when you then sort of taking somebody off the wing and playing them as your extra halfback, it's going to have a knock-on effect on the team.
Is he going to have a test for next week? Do you reckon?
No, because he went back on. I don't. I could be wrong.
And that's what I'm thinking. I were a bit like, I hope he don't, because otherwise we could. Well, because who else could he play fullback?
No. The fact he came back on means he passed the head test, so he'll be fine for next week.
All right, but
yeah.
I mean, another point for me, and this one more especially us, but how many errors did we make in that game for 60 minutes?
Honestly, I mean, that first 60 minutes was, you could tell with Agar. Agar's a calm, laid-back guy, but you could see his reactions in the stands. He was getting frustrated. They weren't even forced errors. There were simple errors that were made. You know, it was very Leeds-like. And I think when we got on that roll, one thing, I'll just go back a bit. One thing you'll notice with this new rules about the 6 again, the set restarts, it's all about momentum. So they got a bit of momentum. They've got a few tries off the back of momentum. Yeah, exactly. And then but then when we get the ball, and we've scored those 4 tries in the last 12 minutes, that's all off the back of momentum. And even with one man down, you'll notice that when you get in set restarts, I've seen in the NRL all season, if you can just get in a bit of a roll, you're the team to beat then. It doesn't matter if you're 10 behind, if you're 20 behind. If you can get on a roll, you're back in the game no matter what the score is. And that's how it showed tonight.
I think one player we missed is Miller.
Miller was
How good did he play?
Miller was my man of the match. Miller was brilliant, I thought. All the way through, that's the best game he's played for Leeds. Miller was, another level tonight.
He's turning into a really, he's going to be one of these that is not going to be a world beater, but he had so much to the game.
I don't know. The way he played tonight is as good as I've seen any second row play all season. I reckon if he can get to that level and play it consistently, he's knocking on the door for England, because that's the kind of performance you need from your back rowers just to help the front rowers out. I mean, Pryor had an indifferent game, let's put it. You need back rowers like Miller and Martin to make those extra meters and look dangerous on the outside, just to get the team rolling.
Teams like Leeds teams in previous seasons, we've maybe missed a back row with a bit of strike. We'll go through the line, and I think we've probably got one on either side of the field with Miller and Martin actually now.
Oh, both sides, yeah. I mean, when we signed Miller, I thought in theory he looks a good player, and tonight it showed that he is that player that I thought he could become, or that anybody thought he could become. You know,
he's a bit of a workhorse as well.
He looks like a youngster. Can he step it up with a bigger club? Which sounds a bit arrogant, but I think he's shown tonight that he's capable of that play.
Yeah, but the thing that Lawrie mentioned about the errors, I mean, you try not to be too critical, because obviously we've had a long time off. They've only trained for a few weeks, and a lot of them were timing based, and we can iron them all out. Yeah. Even had we lost tonight, I think you would have had to take a step back and look at it from that perspective, really. But
look at first game of the season against Hull. How bad were we in that game?
Well, for 60 minutes, boys, for 60 minutes, we're almost matching that performance. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And then after that, games 2, 3, 4, 5 in the season, we look great.
Yeah.
But so I always said, walking into this game, no matter how we play, it means nothing. As long as we can learn from it and build from it, that's all good.
How many kicks did Martin miss tonight?
Not as many.
It wouldn't matter, but how many kicks did he bring 4 tonight?
Not as many as chicken Caesar salad. That's all I'm going to say. Not as many as him. Literally.
They were all off the wing as well, so you can't complain with that.
I'm sorry to Lawrie. Who did? Sorry. Jord, what are you going to say, mate?
I think one of the things to take away from it though is I think obviously the team this year has got like a really good team spirit and like a never say die attitude that we maybe haven't seen for a while. I mean, as Johnny mentioned that St Helens game, I was thinking the one at Wakefield when we were losing by 18, we 10 minutes left and won the game.
Yeah.
That's what we were like in all those like sort of golden years, as I call them. We would always find a way to win the game, and we've sort of gone back there today. So it's positive really in the long run.
I feel like that's a game 12 months ago, or well, 18 months ago, when Furness took over. We'd have lost that by 30, 40 points.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We went in at half time, didn't we? And I must admit, I looked at the score and thought, how the hell are we so close? Because it was almost, okay, you can say Huddersfield missed the conversions. But if you looked at the gameplay, Huddersfield should have been walking that game. They should have been long gone due to our errors. Well, now you look at the scoreline at the end and you're thinking, good God, Leeds, that is pretty damn impressive to come back like that.
And I mean, we were our own worst enemy for 90% of the game as well. I think, did we give 5 penalties away on the last tackle, I think, throughout the game? No one.
Yes, something like that.
Jord, half-time stats, 56% completion rate. You can't win a game with a 50% completion rate. You've got to be up 70s, 80s to have a chance. And that's what we did second half. Second half, we got back up to that stage and, got back in the game. If you're completing at half-year sets, you're never going to, no matter what level you're at, you're going to struggle.
I'm sorry to lower the tone here, but Robert Louis, what's your thoughts on him tonight, guys?
Looks like he's enjoyed lockdown, doesn't he?
I'm going to say the same thing.
When he came out, I just went, oh my word, come on, lad. I mean, go on, sorry, John. I'll let you go.
Obviously, I mentioned the errors being down to timing, and your halfbacks are going to stand out when things like that are the case, admittedly, aren't they? But it looks like he's at Robert Louis, and I'm one to talk. Do you know what I mean?
He just looked very, that pass that led to their try in second half. It was almost like, what are you doing? He wasn't even looking where he passed it. And admittedly, he went backwards, but my God, to
be fair to him, I put the son and a half in lockdown, so he can too.
Although I'd say that though, if you watched him in the last 12 minutes, he actually did contribute quite a bit. It was just those 60 minutes before, did you like, oh, you know, mate,
But that comes down to the new rules, the new set restarts. Your halfbacks are going to look poor if you're giving away too many penalties. The fact that we got on top and didn't give any penalties away, they were giving the penalties away. Your halfbacks are going to look better if you're running the play like we did in the last 20 minutes. I
mean, it's interesting. Have
Leeds ever had a more bizarre build-up to a game? By the way, I mean, I'm not even on about the global pandemic. I'm on about one of the lads in a car crash. One of the lads got bit by another lad's dog. It's absolutely bizarre, isn't it?
It couldn't happen.
It was like Sun headlines, wasn't it?
Honestly,
it's literally like Leeds to a T, isn't it? This season already feels like the most bizarre. It's one of those where I'm going to make a bold prediction here. It's probably not going to happen. We'll win at Old Trafford and win it in the last minute. All right, it's going to be one of these seasons which we'll look back and go, I'm
not getting ahead of ourselves yet. We've got a long way to go.
Just for the record, I'm making that prediction on the 2nd of August, 2020.
It is largely exciting though that we've had the ridiculous build up to the game. We've been god awful for 60 minutes, and we found a way to win. That's a sign of a good team, in my opinion.
And we're top of the league now.
Yeah.
And
we're game now.
It's great. I think one thing to point out as well for me is obviously Luke Gale. Obviously, we paid money for him and signed him, and people were sort of debating at the time whether it was the right thing to do with, how much money we paid for him at his age. That's the reason that we did it. Huddersfield got their shot, missed it. We got one, bang, right over the middle.
You know what? I think Luke Gale, I mean, I must admit, I was a bit like, when we announced, I thought, have we signed him maybe a couple of years too late? He's proving brilliant now. I mean, today, he kept his cool.
Exactly. You can look at Maguire. He's played at a high level to 37 years old. 31 these days. If you keep fit, 31 is nothing. 32 is nothing.
Yeah.
And that's Luke Gill showing that. It's not over the hill. It's prime.
Unbelievable from him today, I've got to admit. I mean, so who were we saying For Leeds, name our top 3 players of tonight. Who are we picking?
Ella,
Mel was my top. Yeah.
Mella?
Gale.
I'd say, yeah, definitely. And third, you've got to go Myler, haven't you? Or maybe, Myler or Cuthbert?
Well,
Leaving for me for the impact he made when he came
Yeah,
on.
Lehman, how he came on. At the
Lehman,
end
yeah, sorry, yeah.
and changed the game. Yeah. I'm definitely on Mel was my favourite throughout the game. I thought the hard work he got through. If you look back at that game and watch it, no matter what the score was, his impact in the game was a positive every time he got the ball. So that's why I'm saying Melo was my favourite. But I agree with Lehman made a massive impact at the end. And when he came on, we looked a different team.
Dwyer was very average today, wasn't
Dwyer was. I mean, I'm not a fan of Dwyer's passing game. I think he's going to be better with the new rules off the bench. I'd start with Lehman going forward. I think Dwyer off the bench would be the best player because when teams are tiring, he's the type of player who can pick the ball up from the half, make those darting runs. And, he can rip teams apart doing that.
He did. I mean, one thing that we did look good, like we say, Lehman coming off the bench, you instantly saw the impact he made. And for an interchange hooker, that was superb. And he came on when we needed in that second half period. When he was on, that were it. You could see the game changed emotion for us.
Oh, yeah.
He's got that swagger as well about him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Lehman. He's got that little...
Do you reckon, I mean, could he be a starting hooker or do you reckon he's probably better interchange?
I've never started, but
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'd start him. There's a starting hooker every day of the week. And Dwyer is like what Burrow was for us. And bring him off the bench. He's got good feet. He can pick the ball up from dummy half, attack the side defenders, and make the meters that maybe Lehman can't do.
Yeah. You could start Lehman and bring Dwyer on like really tactically as well. So when we've had a few 6 agains after about half an hour, when teams are sort of starting to blow, that you see Dwyer to his best.
I think that's a good shout actually because you need that sort of interchange experience, don't you? Almost so.
I've just sort of special mention for Cameron Smith. I thought off the bench he was brilliant tonight. Cameron Smith was a step above. He were hitting the line, making meters. The offloads were setting up second base play. It was awesome.
See, we actually when you think about it, there were actually quite a few good individual performances today, wasn't there? It just wasn't quite.
Plenty was good.
Yeah.
That's what missing as well, don't you? Could potentially
make the team better. Yeah, I mean, obviously Walkston can make the team better. You've got who's got Ward when he's fit. He's going to make the team better as well. Sutcliffe's forward line. Is Sutcliffe fit at the moment, or is he just being rested?
I think probably rested, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, fullback, wouldn't
If you were Huddersfield right now, going forward, how do you take that result?
I wouldn't look at the internet for the next 5 days. No, I wouldn't even log on to the internet for the next 5 days. I'll leave this till next weekend and see how it goes, and then I'll log back into Facebook because for the next 5-6 days, Facebook is not worth going on if you're a Huddersfield fan. I'm saying that now.
I mean, they're not playing next week, are they? But even so, it was just. I mean, you saw that reaction.
Yeah.
Is that a different play?
Yeah.
It's not like they've done a great deal wrong, though, is it? Really? I mean, we just got to roll on towards the back end, and as Johnny said, momentum's everything at the minute with these new rules and stuff.
They played very well. I mean, I thought for the first 60 minutes, if we'd have lost by 20 points, I'd have said that's a good result by Huddersfield. They played very well. They deserved the win. I don't know how we managed to get back in it. I mean, again, momentum at the last 15 minutes just proved momentum in the current game is a different thing. But they were the best team. They didn't deserve to lose. And I'd be gutted. If it was the other way around and we'd have been ahead and lost like that, I'd have been gutted all week. I wouldn't have been able to look at the internet. I mean, I've done it with other teams I support. When we've lost in that same kind of way, I've not even looked at the fan pages because I know all the crap that's going to be on there. It just makes you feel even worse. So if I was a Huddersfield fan, I wouldn't even log on.
I thought Golden had a good game for them.
Golden was great.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you know what? That's probably the best I've ever seen him. I'm not going to lie.
Caesar and Golden were their best two players, without a doubt.
He should have scored as well.
Oh, yeah.
McIntosh got the 3 tries, but I mean, he's just had to finish tries at the end of the day. But Golden and Caesar were their best two players by far, and they don't deserve to be on the losing teams.
Who was that?
They've got a couple of good young forwards, haven't they, Huddersfield as well? Them two props.
English is good. I always like English. I think English is a great player.
They could have gone top tonight as well.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. When you look at tonight, and if we'd have lost, they'd have been top. And it shows you that they're not a bad team. And if we'd have lost, they're good enough to be up there. It's not like we've just lost to an average team. They're a good team to lose to.
Who was that guy with like his hair was slightly bushy and slightly raised up? I can't remember his name. One at forwards for there.
He's like Golden's brother, didn't he?
Yeah, he were constantly moaning at our players, which I constantly noticed. If there were ever a tackle, he were constantly whining at the ref, and I couldn't. I was literally like, "What's right, mate? What was that?"
Kenny Edwards.
Tell you what, that ball steal by Kenny Edwards on Louis was superb. Even I applauded. Admittedly, I did kind of go, "Oh, Robert, lad, what are you doing?" But I felt it was so obvious.
I'm a big fan of Edwards, though. I like Edwards. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah. I thought that O'Brien was quality for Huddersfield. I thought.
Yeah, both
played very well. Gentlemen, finally, quick before we go, the game beforehand, Saints Catalans. What did you think to that? I mean, literally, was it Saints being very good, or was it Catalans being very poor? Because I just thought Saints was superb.
In my opinion, Catalan dominated the first 15 minutes, but the new rules show that it favours good hookers. So once Robbie got his hand on the ball and managed to get hold of the game, that was it. Saints just ran away with it. And, the new rules show that a good hooker will win the games, and Robbie today for me was the main man.
It was superb, wasn't
he? It was,
absolutely incredibly good. I couldn't believe how well he was. Underrated player, as we said a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. He's literally all over the park. Jord, what was your feelings? Did you think, how did you rate Saints out? What would you give them out of 10 today?
I missed it because I was at the pub. Gotta be honest, haven't you?
I'll raise it.
I'm a staff at the pub as well, but I sounded good what I said.
Are you okay? Fair play.
I thought Kieran Cunningham was brilliant for St Helens as Johnny said the hoopers.
Well, Jordan was unbelievable.
That flop he did. I should have done that at the last minute. Yeah. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Finally, next week, it's going to be a tough game. What are we thinking?
Well, last 10 minutes lead has got a chance. First 70 minutes lead hasn't got any chance at all.
Yeah, well, as long as we're only 30 points down with 15 minutes left, we've always got a chance.
We've got a chance. But no, seriously, as long as we can compete and keep ourselves in the game, momentum, the way the new rules are, as long as we're in the game, momentum can get us in it no matter how far we are behind.
I think that'd be a kick up the arse till that first 60 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. And what I've seen so far with Agar, he can work the team out and make them play a different style the week after. I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to seeing how we do next week.
Should be a good game.
Confident as well this time, aren't they?
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure anyway, gentlemen. We'll be back at some point next week, I think. And Johnny, Jordan, Andy, it's been a pleasure as always, guys. Bye-bye. See you later, everyone. Keep following us.